Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News at 11 tonight. I'm Mark Hanrahan. As the world watches the tragedy unfolding in Ukraine, one Eastern Washington man is about to be on the front lines. He's decided to fly overseas and help Ukrainians defend their country. He told KREM 2's Kyle Simchuk tonight why he made the decision just months before his own wedding. Well, Jeremy Smith is leaving behind his fiancée and their business. He plans to be gone for several months, not knowing if he'll be able to have contact with loved ones back home. He says he's most worried about his safety and knows what the ultimate outcome could be.
The devastation in Ukraine and the courage of so many citizens fighting for their country has inspired people all over the world to donate money to help with relief. Jeremy Smith is taking things a step further.
We need to basically bring our body armor, uniform, any winter gear or stuff that you might need.
Smith was at the Spokane Army Surplus store spending $400 on extra gear before heading to Eastern Europe.
What inspired me to go over to Ukraine is I don't like what I'm seeing going on over there. I don't feel it's right. And I feel a duty to action.
Smith owns a coffee shop in Odessa, Washington, and plans to leave his business and fiancée next week to go fight in Ukraine. He's joining a group of men from Seattle.
We have some people on the ground in Ukraine that we communicate with, and also in Poland.
On March 17th, Smith will fly to Warsaw, Poland. There, he'll visit the Ukrainian embassy to fill out paperwork.
And then from there to the Ukrainian border.
Smith says Ukrainians are providing firearms and other supplies. He plans to stay through the spring and isn't sure if he'll be able to call home and update his fiancée.
Well, I was told I better get my butt back in time for my wedding, which is in June. So the fiancée is quite adamant about the return date.
Returning home safe is the ultimate goal. Smith has no formal military experience. He's worked as a bail bond agent for more than 25 years and has received close combat training.
Most concerned about my safety. I'm not going to lie. I'm going into a war zone. But on the other hand, I know what I'm getting myself into. I know what to expect.
And according to CBS News, the Ukrainian government reports more than 16,000 foreigners have already arrived to fight, including some Americans. In the newsroom, Kyle Simchuk, KREM 2 News.
Taking a look now at the ongoing war in Ukraine. Earlier today, a Russian airstrike on a maternity hospital in Ukraine. Authorities have reported several injuries, but there are few details tonight on how many people were hurt or killed. Ukraine's president calling the strike a war crime and saying that there were children under the wreckage. The White House is warning tonight Russia could possibly use chemical or biological weapons. Newly released search warrants are providing new details on the death of a Hauser Lake man who was shot and killed after finding his own barn on fire. It happened about 10 days ago. Documents show 77-year-old Dennis Rogers was shot and killed with his own gun on his own property. Deputies believe Adam Bennett pulled the trigger. They're now investigating how he got the gun. Bennett is also accused of shooting at two neighbors who saw the fire and stopped to help. One of them was shot in the leg. Bennett was arrested a half a mile from the property on Hauser Lake Road at an asphalt plant. Deputies say he stole a worker's truck there and may also be responsible for setting a semi on fire. He remains in jail tonight without bond. Also new tonight, a study from the University of Washington's Addiction, Drugs and Alcohol Institute showed a large increase in the intentional use of fentanyl across the state. They surveyed nearly 1,000 people and it revealed that last year's use increased 18% since 2019, with 42% saying they had used the drug in the past 3 months. A research scientist at the institute says that fentanyl growth is the biggest and fastest shift they have ever seen and also the most lethal. Developing tonight, Spokane police have arrested a 12-year-old student for having a gun at school today. Here's what we know. School officials got information a student at Willard Elementary School had a gun at the school, and they then found that gun, a loaded revolver, in the 12-year-old's backpack. The student was taken to a juvenile detention facility. They've been charged with unlawful possession of a firearm and possession of dangerous weapons on school grounds. Police do not believe there was any real threat to other students, they said. All right, let's take a quick break from the headlines to talk weather because it was a beautiful sunny day across the inland northwest, but it was noticeably cooler today. Meteorologist Jeremy Legou in the Outdoor Weather Center tonight. And Jeremy, just 23 degrees at this hour. It just keeps getting colder every night this week.
Yeah, you know, Mark, I think a couple of good things here that we've got going for us. One of those, this is our last cold night. The other one of those is that I just looked at the moon and it's starting to look like we have some high-level cloud cover filtering in. And I think that has a little to do with our temperatures not really moving much in the past hour. We still sit at 23 degrees, so our cool down has slowed down, but I don't think it's going to stop by any means. 21 in Coeur d'Alene, 18 now in Sandpoint, mid-20s in both Moses Lake and Wenatchee. Notice it's clear skies everywhere, and we are just waiting on that cloud cover. That cloud cover is going to be our saving grace. If it weren't for it, we'd be in the low teens or single digits early tomorrow morning. So this cloud cover is going to start filtering in. You'll see it overnight and even before the sun comes up, and that's the reason we don't get near as cold as we otherwise would. And then tomorrow, it's all about a mix of clouds and sun taking us through the day. So overnight, I do think we dip down into the teens briefly, and then we'll see those temperatures climb back up. I think by the time we get into that morning commute, you'll start to see some of that sun filtering through those clouds. And as we get into the middle part of the day, temperatures going to climb to up near 40 degrees across much of the region. Coming up, we're talking the return of 50s, and I'm going to let you know why that's not a rare thing this time of year.
Sounds good, Jeremy. Thank you very much. Now tonight, Beat with a quick look at the day's top stories. You may want to pay closer attention to your speed on the South Hill. The Spokane Police Department is installing 3 new photo speed cameras in school zones at Ferris High School and at Roosevelt Elementary School.
I would love to be able to say I could put myself out of a job or put our cameras out of a job if everybody obeyed the traffic law, and that would make life a lot easier. I mean, that's one of the biggest complaints that we have come into the department is traffic issues, and frankly, that's a huge thing for our city.
The 3 new cameras on the South Hill will monitor southbound traffic on Ray, northbound traffic on Regal, and northbound traffic on Bernard. This covers the school zones of Ferris High School, Adams Elementary, and again, as well as Roosevelt Elementary. The cameras track your speed and are only active when the school zone lights are flashing. We will share how much the fines will cost you coming up in just about 5 minutes. Eastern Washington University, the latest university to update its mask guidance today. Masks will be optional starting March 12th at Eastern Washington classrooms, academic and business buildings, as well as resident halls in Cheney and at their campus in the Catalyst building as well. For the Eastern Washington Spokane campus that is shared with WSU, they will follow WSU's masking protocols, which require masks on public transportation and inside medical facilities. Dozens of airmen from Fairchild Air Force Base have arrived in Europe in support of NATO. 150 personnel from the 92nd Air Refueling Wing and 4 KC-135 tankers are now at an airbase in Germany. According to the Pentagon, the deployment is a direct response to the invasion and war in Ukraine. Fairchild stresses the airmen are purely defensive forces, working in coordination with NATO to increase readiness during this period of uncertainty in Eastern Europe. And that was your Night Beat. To learn more about any of these stories, just text us the word night to 509-448-2000 and we'll send them directly to your phone. Well, Washington just days away from the end of the indoor mask mandate, which is on Saturday, and that means next week, students in Washington schools will not have to wear a mask in the classroom. This will mark the first time since the pandemic started students do not have to wear masks. Spokane Public Health Officer Dr. Frank Velasquez spoke to the media today about the end of that mask mandate in schools, and he said current trends make him confident that it is safe for local schools to take off the masks.
If everything continues going the way it's going, we should be able to align with the DOH guidance. And unless there are any specific circumstances in a particular school that require us to provide a different guidance. So, and I do believe that most of our schools are looking forward to that.
Some guidelines are still in place for schools. That includes the vaccine requirement for staff and quarantine requirements for those exposed to COVID-19. The state also recommends schools still attempt social distancing in situations like lunchrooms and in common areas. And as the war in Ukraine continues, Vice President Kamala Harris landed in Warsaw, Poland tonight. During her visit, she'll help reinforce America's dedication to NATO and highlight the U.S. support for Ukraine. She'll also meet with the leaders of Poland and Romania and learn more about what is being done to support Ukrainian refugees right now. Meanwhile, in Washington, D.C., the House tonight passing a spending bill to fund the government through September 30th. The $1.5 trillion package also includes $13.6 billion in military and economic aid for Ukraine. Meantime, it is the third day of the 50th Iditarod sled dog race, with sled teams arriving at the McGrath checkpoint today. This allows sledders and dogs to have a chance to rest up. So far, all 15 sled teams have made it to the McGrath checkpoint. Some have already left for the next leg of that big race.
You know, the cow's going as fast as it can right now, which is about 3 miles per hour.
Not exactly a high-speed chase. Take a look at this. A cow now safe tonight after it was caught running loose on a Los Angeles freeway. Several public agency vehicles there tried to guide that cow off the freeway, but it got spooked, ran back on the highway, causing traffic to slow down. After a bit, crews, they were able to lasso the cow and move him off of the road. Today, the players and owners of the Major League Baseball failed to meet a deadline to save their 162-game season. The MLB announcing today they will be canceling another 2 series worth of games. Opening day now postponed until at least April 14th. All right, don't go to bed just yet. Coming up, a Creme 2 exclusive about new speed cameras on the South Hill. What you need to know before they're installed. We're back in just 90 seconds.